afternoon to one and all. It's my pleasure to host the first ever SDA workshop at a MAIT Summit. Thank you for being here. From all of us at the SDA Association and at MAIT, it's a pleasure to have you here. I hope the next 1 hour is going to be stimulating and interesting, and it will be something for you to take back. India has managed to carve its niche as a global hub for innovation and lead the role as a creator in technology. We have established ourselves as the leader in providing engineering and design strategies to several domains, including telecom, manufacturing, semiconductors, automobile, and so on. We have core capabilities in designing chips and firmware. We have mechanical, embedded, very large-scale integration and verification capabilities. With companies like SanDisk, TI, and Intel having such a strong base in India, investing in complete design, ideation, development, and testing happening here, the government is emphasizing the need to invest and initiate manufacturing in India. The SDA Association is a global ecosystem of companies setting industry-leading memory card standards in electronics. It exists to create standards and then promote adoption, advancement, and the use of SD standards. Established in the year 2000 by Panasonic, SanDisk, and Toshiba, the SD Association today has approximately 850 member companies involved in the design and development of SD standards. Being a member of the SDA allows you access to the complete portfolio of SD standards, allowing members to develop products and solutions designed to the standard set and to participate in interoperability standards for SD-compatible devices. I hope that this first ever introduction of the SDA on a MAIT platform brings relationships, synergy, and business opportunities on both sides of the table. This incredible opportunity could not have come at a better time for all of us, rooting to improve the manufacturing in India, including the component manufacturing ecosystem. To kick off this session, let me start by presenting a short video of what the last 20 years of the SDA have looked like. We at the SDA Association work tirelessly to create standards that are relevant and that help every industry grow. Over to you, Puneet.
20 years ago, 3 corporations came together to establish and promote industry-wide standards for memory cards. The aim was to make memory cards and devices interoperable in order to simplify their use and extend the life of consumer electronics, including mobile phones, for millions of people every day.
The SD Association's level of commitment and vast history of innovation in removable memory card technology has given it an extremely prominent position within the market. The SDA combined the 3 essential operational functions of technical development, compliance, and marketing under one roof. This unique structure provided a strong foundation that guided the evolution of the standard as new market developed, as well as a new market enabler, while always being driven by member needs and interests.
The SD Association's longevity, almost unprecedented for a standards organization in the technology arena, speaks to the value of its continued contributions and relevance to the industry. Since SD cards were introduced in 2000, more than 5 billion SD and micro SD cards have been sold. Since the SDA's founding, bus speed has increased nearly 100 times. Card capacities have been supersized up to 128 terabytes. The SDA provided SD memory card formatter has been downloaded from the organization website more than 10 million times. We've welcomed more than 1,700 association members focused on creating and using SD card standards, and the association has crafted 15 major SD specification versions. And from SD cards in 2000 to micro SD in 2005 to SD Express and micro SD Express in 2019, manufacturers have innovated and improved memory card storage options, all within SDA standards. Today, as the SD Association celebrates its 20th anniversary, we're still looking to the future. We're listening to our members, listening to consumers, and continuing to establish specifications and standards that will benefit everyone. Here's to another 20 years of innovation.
Thank you for that, Puneet. I'd now like to invite Mr. Kazunori Nakano, who's part of the SDA Board of Directors and is the Marketing Global Committee Chair. Kaz Nakano-san is a senior expert at Kyokusha Corporation, having 20 years of SD technology experience, and holds positions within the SDA as a member of the Board of Directors and as the Marketing Committee Chair. Over to you, Kaz-san.
Hey, thank you, Ashita. So I make my presentation in brief. So thank you for joining us today. And I make a very brief introduction of what SDAs are and what we are now. So this is our state-of-the-art technology or introduction menu today. And having an overview and the SD standard specification and new standards, we are focusing on the PCI interfaces product now. So market trend to be closed for the final message and summary. So SD standard and I made under this organization and the board directors. Actually, as Cheater, the Smile Corporation's COO is one of our board of directors. We have certain companies of board directors and are controlled and managed for each committee operations for technical and compliance or marketing. So I'm representing marketing committee and promoting SD technology, having this kind of seminars, and they're applying various kinds of logos for identification for each distinguishments. And technical committee is a major our most important committee, and having and inviting physical specifications and the mechanical specifications and test guidelines for compliances. And the compliance committee is developing test tools for interoperabilities and membership privileges to be able to have interactions for host and card devices. So all those are free. And we now have inviting around 800 membership globally. And we are now under SD3C license size. And the SD Association adding new specifications of those basic core specifications. So if you have some interest in this SD technology, please be joined to SD associations, getting a membership agreement and also a license agreement for those logos and specification access capability. And if you would like to make any SD products, you could have another licensing for manufacturing licenses with SD3C LLC for cards or host devices. So SD officers, here we have, very important officers, organization, president and chairman, and the treasurer, and the executive director, and the secretary. So Ashita is the secretary of the board officers and having those controls for certain companies. So major companies like Western Digital, the SanDisk, and I'm from Kioxia, the former Toshiba Memory Corporation, and several card controller manufacturers like Phison and Silicon Motion, and a major host device manufacturer like Sony Panasonic. So I hope Indian local membership extension is very seriously expected to be deployed. Our new SD technology that we introduced today. So I'm representing marketing committee, and the technical committee represented by the Yoshi of the Western Digital, and compliance committee two Japanese co-chairmen. So we are operating all those very big and exciting organization more than 20 years, and it is three major committee under roof. So this is a specification structure and the physical layer and the part file systems and password security and several addendum specifications. And those specifications extending actual product outreach for form factors like the SD standards and the micro SDs, and the memory capacity is up to 128 terabytes capability. And the bus interface is a conventional power interfaces, and the serial interface is extended to low voltage signaling technology and the UHS 1, 2, 3, and we are now challenging the PCI interface. So namely, we are bringing the name SD Express that we're gonna introduce this status today focused. So several SD marks are applied into each categories. So capacities, you may know SD, HC, XC, and we're expecting more than 2 terabyte capability of SD USC logo marks to be in the new futures. And a bus mark is a very new one and not extended, presented in the market, but we are now creating the new mark SD Express. And the speed class is now migrated from conventional speed class for video recording to video speed class for 8K or more than 8K recording in the future. So this is the bus mode structure on the very bottom. We are now challenging the PCI interface in this very small form factor. So around 4 gigabyte per sec capability is now to be realized by the host implementers or card developers. So we have very many challenges and have been extending our challenge in this very small factor memory card, but more challenges for the host implementation for a very high performance and high frequency product is expected. And I hope we could introduce today the challenging SD Express technology to be well understood by all attendees to be integrated into the Indian IPs. Thank you. Hey, Ashira.
Thank you, Kasan. Thank you for that introduction to the SDA and some of the SD standards that we follow today.
Yep.
Moving on the agenda, I would like to invite Mr. Ram Praveen to introduce the SD Express and explain the host implementation process. Ram Praveen has a bachelor's degree in electronics and communication with 13 plus years of experience in storage devices, with specializations in interface protocols such as SD, PCIe, SATA, USB, and has also worked on system design of storage devices such as the SD card, SSD, and the USB drive. Ram Praveen, over to you.
Thank you, Ashita. Hi, I'm Praveen, working for Western Digital. Today in this session, I will take you through a brief about the SD specifications, and then our latest introduction of SD Express, what it is, followed by our guideline to implement SD Express host. So we introduced our first specification in 2000, which is a full-size SD card. We introduced this card in the market when there were already existing but different form factors. And then in 2005, it was a micro SD, but we proudly say that these two form factors helped a lot in revolutionizing the consumer market. Then we introduced the EHS1, and then the other interfaces types like EHS2 and EHS3, then followed by the SD Express. Also, based on the market need, we have introduced other specifications to slightly bump up the performance or introduce the command queue and low voltage signaling. We have good adaptation, and the volume numbers speaks for them that we have that there are more than 5 billion SD and micro SD cards in the market today. Coming to SD Express cards, our new introduction is a combination of both PCI interface as well as the legacy SD. So this card do have backward compatibility, so this can be used in host that doesn't support the PCI interface. We introduced the full-size SD Express in SD 7.0, followed by micro SD Express in 7.1. Both these are supporting PCI Gen 3 one lane, and the maximum speed is 985 Mbps. Then in SD 8.0, we introduced the full-sized SD Express with two-lane support for both Gen 3 and Gen 4. So now with SD 8.0, we have specification that can support up to 4 Gbps. So this is a representation of the comparison of speed compared between UHS1, UHS2, UHS3, and our latest introduction of PCIe Gen 4 tooling. Apart from card specification, we develop host guideline, especially to help SoC vendors or host vendors to design the host, SD Express host, with off-the-shelf PCIe ports and SD controllers, with minimal changes added on top in order to interact with the SD cards, SD Express cards. Apart from this, we do have test fixtures developed with third party. So these test fixtures can be used to validate the SD Express host as well as SD Express cards. So these fixtures can be borrowed from our member companies, JRL and Alien Labs. Apart from this, we do have white papers that can help member companies or general public to understand how the SD Express can be used for higher speed products. I'll go to the SD Express host implementation. Before I jump, I want to go over the pin conventions we have. So the first row of pins in both micro SD and SD form factors have SDIO lines, otherwise also mixed with the PCIe sideband signals. The second row of pads are meant or differential pads for the PCIe mode. If there is a third row which is for the SD form factor, the same is also used for the second lane of PCIe interfaces. So this is a whole picture of the SD Express host controller. In coming slides, I will go over how we can, our recommendation, how to build the host Express controller. The first, the SDA host controller, which can be from version 3.0 onwards, and then a standard PCIe port with present signal. This is meant for card detection. And then the first set of changes, one is to for the VDD2 supply, and then interface to enable the PCIe signaling. The second set of changes is on the data lines. I have shown that the first row of signals are for SDIO lines as well as for PCIe sideband signals. So we have to mux these two signals and then select it based on the need. So yeah. Then finally, SD Express socket to host the cards. So I'll go over a small animation which will show what happens when a card is inserted and how the host can start interacting with the SD Express card. On insertion, with the help of card detect switch, a host can identify the insertion of the card and then enable the power to the card, followed by interaction in SD mode to check whether the card supports a PCIe interface as well or not. So when the host identifies that the card can support the PCIe interface, the interface can be switched to PCIe, and then we can start the regular PCIe interaction with the sideband signals as well as the PCIe differential pairs and start interacting with the card. So this is one of the recommended flow. So also there are possibility that the PCIe host protocol can be directly used to start interacting with the card. But our recommendation is to start with the PCIe protocol, then SD protocol, and then follow the PCIe. But it's up to the host implementation. They can start with PCIe protocol as well. If PCIe fails, then they can switch over to the SD protocol. So if this complexity is not required and host companies are looking for a ready bridge solution, we do have a bridge solution that can be used directly from our vendors, Bay Hub, so that the legacy PC interface can be connected with this bridge and the SD Express card socket. Yeah, I think that's the end of my presentation. Thank you, Ashita.
Thank you so much, Rampraveen. Thank you for walking us through the SD evolution and for recommending principles and methods that will help with the SD Express implementation. I'd now like to invite our keynote speaker, Mr. Tom Denholm. Tom is an embedded software engineer with 30 years of experience, combining a strong focus on operating system and file system internals with the knowledge of modern flash drives. He writes Texera white papers and is a frequent speaker at conferences such as Embedded World and Flash Memory Summit. In his spare time, he works as a professional baseball umpire and an internet librarian. Though he has lived in and around Seattle all his life, he has never had a cup of coffee. I can't do my day without a cup of coffee, Tom. Over to you.
Thank you. So Texera has been a member of the SD Association for a few years. I will speak a little bit today about our software and specifically the SD card formatter, which is what we help provide for the SD Association. So yeah, we joined the SD Association upon founding of the company in 2009, and then joined executive member status in 2013, and finally joined the board of directors in 2019. I serve as an alternate on the board of directors with my colleague Joel Catala. So Texera is a software company. We don't make hardware, unlike many of the member companies of the SD Association, but we are very key for the primary file system on SD cards, which is exFAT. We provide Microsoft's exFAT implementation on many operating systems and RTOS environments. We also provide the SD card formatter for the SD Association, and that's what I'm going to speak a little more on here today. So this is the official formatting application for the SDA. It automatically handles FAT12, FAT16, FAT32, or exFAT, depending on the capacity of the card. Most cards today, of course, are exFAT only because it's the largest capacity. This supports Windows 10 versions and Mac OS. We have both English and Japanese provided. So the formatter does two possible formats. I'll show those here. One is the quick format. This formats the SD card very rapidly. It creates an empty partition. It does not overwrite the data that was formerly stored in the files. So you could think of that as the files are not really securely deleted. It is a quick format, and it does leave the card empty and ready to be used with just overwrite of the files required. If you do have secure data and you wish to remove it, we also have overwrite formatting or full format. This is a more time-consuming process because it removes all of the data on the media. That's very important for any data which is secure. It's completely unrecoverable at that point, and it's a key situation. So why would I use the official SD memory card formatter? Why would I just not use the native OS formatter? We did some testing, and we'll show exactly why here, or at least our recommendation is to use it. So the SD card formatter maximizes the SD card performance. It really does the layout on the media to match the SDA parameters and properly aligns things to match with the vendor's specifications. So the internal flash boundaries are met, and this alignment helps performance a lot more than you would think. In this test, we compared using the macOS disk utility to format the media and then this official SD card formatter. And we used 4 different SD card vendors using a UHS card on each. The test run was the amorphous disk mark. And you can see here that the sequential read performance and the random write performance, there's a significant difference. Random read is actually quite close, but just that sequential read is a common use case for SD cards. This is also important to prolong the SD card longevity because when you align things properly, you end up writing those SD NAND flash write blocks, write pages, only in large and single chunks. So you don't end up writing 2 pages and therefore reducing the program and erase count on the media. The metadata heavy areas of the flash can be redirected to flash that's more wear resistant. So this is a key longevity strategy as well. Here are some resources that are available. The SD card formatter is available on the SD card website, the SDA website, which is sdcard.org. We also have a formatter FAQ, which answers some of these questions our support team has encountered. If you need support, if you reach out to the SDA, we are the ones who will answer those support questions on the SD card formatter and to an extent on the EXPAT format as well. There's also a user manual available for download. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Tom. Thank you for giving us recommendations on the use of the SD card formatter. I'm sure it's of great use to everybody in the audience. I'd now like to invite Rex from Fizon. He is a product manager and mainly dedicated with removable storage product planning, promoting and building the latest product lines that have aligned themselves with the newest standards of the SDA Association and the market trend. Rex, over to you.
Okay. Hi everyone, this is Rex. And in the following section, I'm gonna show you how the application we will be using for the SD Express card. Let's just brief overview of SD Express card. So SD Express card, there might be a first SD card adapted to the PCIe interface and then NVMe protocol. So we support from the Gen 3, Gen 4. And the advantage is still keep the SD form factor, which means the host, they don't have to change the host design. They can use in the current socket, but with the card reader or SoC and then support a PCI interface to support a second row go finger. then they can support SD Express card. And another big advantage is this SD Express card also they keep the legacy UHS-1 interface. So which means all previous hosts they can still using this product as the UHS-1 card. So that's kind of the win-win design for the SD Express. We got a legacy SD support and then we got a PCI interface supported. And I would like to say that SD Express card will more like the SSD look like the card. You have the smallest capacity compared to the SSD, but you have the almost the same performance as the SSD. Okay, and by the way, and the good thing, the more advantage for SD Express card is that we suppose the command queue, and you can support the cache, so you can support everything legacy SD supported. But why do we need SD Express card? SD Express card can up to the 985 megabyte per second to the maximum nearly 4 gigabyte per second, the maximum performance. Right now, we can see the much more host or application they are required in making like the more bigger, larger file size, and they adopted the more higher quality. As you can see from the camera, and they have the big or a smartphone, or they have the large content size, which means one of each picture or each folder, they need we're increasing the file capacity. And another one, we can see more and more the camera DSCC. They are introducing we call the burst mode photo shooting. So which means we need a more faster card to support this kind of application. And of course we call it VR, AR, and also the stuff to promoting the video recording within the raw content, which all indicate that we need more faster removable device to support this kind of the high quality or high density file writing. So we think the most popular or which device will need SD Express card might be the drone 300 degrees camera, or also the 8K Ultra HD video recording device. We can see more and more drone be used in more and more area in the military, in the agriculture, in the architecture, or of course in maybe the entertainment area. So the memory card of the drone need to record more and more contents, and they need to provide real-time information feedback to the customer, or just the record real-time information or a real-time video to prevent the data loss, or prevent some information or every your treasure moment video be losing. So we need the best card to support this. And now I know that some of the high-end SSD, or some of the high-end drone, they are using the SSD as the storage. I think about it, if you can change the storage to the SD Express card, which means you can downsize your drone. So you have the high quality drone, but you have small size. So I think that's one of the advantage, or one of the advantage that this Express card can bring for a drone. And for a 300-degree camera and 8K video recording, which means they can have the removable device, and they can be stored a very high quality video, so they can prevent any data loss, because if they're using a legacy card or a UHS-2 card, which means they will have the data loss. But if they choose the SSD to store the video recording, which means it's not very easy to remove this device, so they cannot have the removable device to save their treasure video. So if they're using the SD Express card, they will have the very easy to remove the device and save the very high quality video. And of course, if you're using the SD Express card, then you have the smallest portable storage, but with the SSD level transfer performance. And in the future, you can imagine right now, everything going to the big data, going to the 5G, going to the smart. So we can image the smart city will be around us in the future, which means the more and the more devices need to communication with each other. And the most of data need to be stored in the temporary, because not every data can be stored or uploaded to the cloud immediately. They need a temporary storage to save this kind of data. So suppose like the original traffic line, they only need to store it maybe some rule of the traffic rule, but right now they need to save some vehicle data, some temperature data, some moisture data, some weather data, and which means they need a more faster device to handle this kind of data. So then they can use in the SD Express card, and this will bring. They don't need to change the device the size, but they can have they don't have to change the device the size a lot. They can keep using the original SD socket, original socket slot, but they can have the faster storage in the future. So I think this is the last slide of my presentation. I think Katie will introduce more about the relationship of the 5G and the memory card. So you expect it?
Thank you, Rex. Thank you for walking us through the possible SD Express applications and the advantages of doing the same. I'd now like to invite Katie, who is the Phison Marketing Director. Katie is also a representative of Phison, who is a board member of the SDA, and he is part of the marketing committee, and he is the co-chair of the marketing committee application of WG. Katie, over to you to walk us through 5G and IoT. You'll just have to unmute yourself, Katie.
Okay. Thank you, Ashita. Thank you, everyone joining this event. My name is Korting. After Rex explained the SD Express and some opportunities and challenges that the SD or micro SD card is facing during the time of 5G and AIoT, that's something I would like to share with you. So, first of all, emergent technologies, what are the meanings for NAND storage such as SD, micro SD cards? I'm not sure how many of you remember that back in 2015, everyone was talking about smart home, and 2016 talking about AR, VR, 2017 self-driving cars, and 2018 to 2019, everyone was talking about artificial intelligence plus IoT, Internet of Things. And last year, and including this year, 5G, the another hot topic that everyone was talking about. So let's look at these technologies, innovative technologies. Is that from the slides, you will realize that all these technologies, they all include sensors, computing, process, connectivity, artificial intelligence. And without the storage, none of these technology can happen, can be achieved, meaning storage plays an important role in these technologies. So from SD Association or Phison perspective, as a controller developer, this is the world that we are seeing. As you can see from the slide, is that the local storage, after all the sensors collect the data and store the data into the local storage, and that's where the edge computing and AI jumps in. So data being processed and then transfer the data up to the cloud. So that's where the cloud storage jumps in. All right. So, and everything doing the data processing, and that's where the cloud computing is so important. So, and 5G is enabling these NAND storage demands and connect IoT devices and cloud. So this is the world that we are seeing, and this is the future that we're seeing as a NAND storage solution provider and as a SD Association perspective. So these emerging applications, what are the impacts on the controller developer and NAND storage design? Let me give you one example. Is that from these slides is that back in 20 years ago, all the IC designs, they are simple and direct. Functionalities are quite straightforward, not too complex. But today, you can see here, smartphones, robots, smartwatches, tablets, AR, VR, even smart speakers. These are the characteristics of these devices are complex and with many functions, right? And that indicates the IC design trend of three main directions. One is the multiple functions. Two is making ICs thin, light, short, small, and low power. And not to mention the short development time for all the IC design companies. Because again, consumers, they don't have patience. They are looking for new technology coming out every year. So from IC design perspective, the IC design is getting more and more difficult. So 20 years ago, engineers can sit comfortably at the lab and imagine how the people can use the system and utilizing the IC they design. So that means demand can be created. However, today, engineers need to know applications and system before IC development. They need to understand what's the market trend. They need to understand what's the likes and dislikes before they design the ICs. So from this perspective, engineers need to meet the market demand. So unlike 20 years ago, applications and system integrations, they are driving the controller design directions. Okay, so this is a very different design flow and design thinking when it comes to the current IC design concept. So that's the reason why marketing, understand the market, market research, and a lot of surveys, understand what customer likes is so critical, because once the product has been designed, if customers don't like it, all the investment will go in vain. Okay, so what are the challenges and opportunities for this, especially for SD and micro SD memory cards? Is that let's take video surveillance as an example. As you can see, for video surveillance, and if you look at in India, it's a big country, you will face a lot of power supply issues, and not to mention there will be some integrated and unintegrated solutions on the market, meaning there are many solutions that is not SD compliance, for example, and not to mention there are some skills that need to be learned before customers are able to install or use the video surveillance systems, right? But however, for SD memory cards, this is also the opportunity for the memory cards. As you can see from these slides, the card itself is easy to fix, replace, and it can act as a local storage, and not to mention it's always SD standard compliant. And of course, it's easy to learn. So when it comes to utilizing the system, for example, video surveillance system, people are easy to understand and easy to install the solution, and even easy to learn the solutions. That makes, for example, micro SD memory card an different approach and different methods to many system applications. Okay. So we Phison, or as the association, as a solution provider, we protect your SD memory card from these challenges by providing the solutions that or the functions that is required to enable your business. Okay, for example, we are able to, for example, as the association, we always hold a lot of global workshops to provide educational workshops for audience, for users, for customers to understand what's the new trend for SD technologies. And of course, we are able to validate the solutions and provide certifications to the customers that has interest in developing the solutions, SD memory card solutions. And not to mention the special functions that is required for different scenarios. And this is something that Phison is able to deliver. All right, we're helping you to ease these challenges. So above is my presentation. We are hoping that you enjoyed this SD association session. So let's give it back to Ashita.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Katie. Thank you for walking us through application trends and the design of IC through the looking glass for the past 20 years. I'd now like to invite, thank you. I'd now like to invite Mr. Rahul Gupta to give the vote of thanks. Mr. Rahul Gupta is the CEO of Smile Security. His specialty is in the area of network security appliances, surveillance over IP, access control solutions, automatic parking solutions, perimeter fencing, attendance recording solutions, to name a few. He is the mentor of MAIT SME chapter, and he works very passionately to promote the Make in India solution and initiative for IT and electronics manufacturing. Thank you, Mr. Rahulji. Over to you, sir.
Thank you. It is my privilege to honor to propose the vote of thanks for the participants for this breakout session of MAIT SD Global Workshop on SD. Actually speaking, today I have learned a lot about the SD card and the SD association. It was a very enlightening session that you conducted. I would like to express my gratitude to the panelists of the workshop, Mr. Kazumori Nakano-san, SDA board member, who gave us a good overview of technology. Actually, the most important thing that I picked up today is that how important is this entire SD card, which people don't sometimes realize the importance. It is just a small card. But in the entire development of technology, in the entire development of new things, what an important role the SD card plays. I mean, you may keep on going to 5G, you may keep on increasing the megapixels in the camera, but if the storage is not capable of handling the speed, the read-write speed, the capacity, accuracy, and I was also very impressed by Tom's session, in which I understood that how important it is that how you format it. And so it was a very enlightening experience for me today, and I'm so glad that I attended, and I'm so thankful to all the panelists and all the attendees who spared their time for this session. Let me also express the gratitude to Ms. Ashita, chairperson of MAIT SME chapter, who conducted this event very well, coordinated very well, a lot of education today. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Rahulji, and thank you for acknowledging the effort put in by all the panelists. Least of all, thank you all the panelists and MAIT for giving us this opportunity. We very much appreciate it, and we definitely look forward to hosting more such events going forward. Thank you.
Thank you.